beautiful. The water is clear and turquoise.
Yes, you can see through it all the way to the bottom. At this end is not really deep.
Mm-hmm.
The pebbles are shimmering silver. It's like the whole beach is silver sand.
Silver sand and turquoise
Like,
water.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they're actually pearls or pebbles. Maybe they're pearls.
Whatever they are, they sound just magical and beautiful. Yeah.
The water is calm.
Mm-hmm. Tell me about how big is this water? I don't know what a lagoon usually is. How big it is. Can you get a sense of the size?
The water feels infinite. The lagoon is small.
What does that mean? The water is infinite, but the lagoon is small.
It feels like there's more water than land where I am.
Mm-hmm.
And there are two suns.
There are two suns. Tell me about that. Like, are they equidistant apart, or?
One is larger on my left, but not as bright. And one on my right, it's smaller, but much brighter. And the quality of light is different. The smaller one is whiter, and the bigger one, it's nearly like a sunset sun.
Are they both suns? Or maybe there's something different, or your senses, they're definitely suns, they're just different types.
Suns.
Wonderful. And how do the suns feel? Are you able to differentiate between how one feels and the other? I imagine that must be tough to feel, since you're right there and they're both shining on you at the same time. But do you have a knowing or a sense of how that works?
It's like it's like one is older and one is younger. Like not sure if like siblings or there is bigger generation gap, but somehow the bigger, dimmer one seems older and wiser, where the smaller one, it's younger, in some way just has more energy to give out.
Do you have a feeling that they communicate with each other?
Yes, they do. They work together. with this planet and the rest of the cosmos.
Are there other suns besides these two?
No, not that I can see.
Mm-hmm. And do you have a sense of what planet we're looking at?
It seems like this is ocean or water world planet. But not sure what star system is it.
Well, we can get that information later too. But you have a sense that the suns communicate with each other and that they have a job they do together, that they work together.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think if we asked them questions, or one of them questions, they would be open to communicating with us?
Let's try.
Yeah. Let's see which one is most receptive or how they want to do it. They can choose. What did they say?
The younger one is very eager.
Oh my God, I knew it. I feel like the older one is kind of rolling their eyes, like doesn't want to be
Not
bothered.
really. But they want to be there. Like they want to listen in. I don't know. Like, yeah, they'll
They
be
want to
there.
participate? Wonderful.
I
I'm
think.
so happy. So which one would you like to talk to? Would you like to start with the younger one or?
Yeah, it feels like the older one will listen in and correct or add if necessary.
Yes. All right. Wonderful. I would love to ask first, this will be like the test question for the young one. If Margo should move now, I'd like his opinion or her opinion if there's a gender. I can focus it that way. I'd like the sun's opinion.
No gender.
Okay.
If Margo should move.
Mm-hmm. What makes the young sun think that Margo should move? How did that decision come about? I'd love to hear the decision-making process, the thinking.
Margo should move since she feels like it. It's her life. Mm-hmm. It's her decision. Mm-hmm. And she should follow her intuition or whatever signs she is getting.
well, she's got other people to think about too. I imagine her family and logistics, things like that, can be a factor.
Indeed.
How should she handle
Indeed.
that then? But, so sometimes it's not as easy. Do you have advice for her about that? Or is it as simple as that?
It's not about leaving anyone behind, but I sense that her question wasn't about that. It was of a nature of if for some reason she wants to move.
Mm-hmm. Yes, go on.
And she's not sure if she should work through these challenges, stay and work through the challenges, or move. Sometimes the challenges are there to make it as uncomfortable as possible for the person to make a decision.
So what is the case for Margo as you see it?
So if that makes her the place uncomfortable enough for her to start thinking about moving, that's the way to go.
Why stay and fight it? Mm-hmm. Are there certain things we, humanity, should fight?
Can you repeat?
Are there certain things we should fight?
Fight.
I've been thinking a lot about that word, fight. And I'm wondering if there's anything or any circumstance where it would be appropriate to fight unless you're being attacked, really. And even then, it feels like bringing the light. Might work better.
Yes, bringing light and love will work better. However, the word fight means so many things to so many people. So, if you mean fight by resisting, not so good idea.
Right.
But if you mean fight for, as in integrity, yes.
Thank you so much. And And I wonder, Margo did mention noise pollution as being an issue. If someone doesn't have or doesn't see the choice to move, can you see a way to manage noise pollution?
In some moments, you can use your technology, noise cancelling headphones.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that Bluetooth is not good for us at all and might have some negative effects on us. Do you know anything about that?
That might have been the case earlier, and it still might, in some cases, be a case. However, your sun, and not only your sun, is bringing the light codes to Earth right now that are constantly upgrading your DNA, which can help with while integrated, will upgrade your physical body, and this wouldn't be so impactful, or at least not in negative way. You can help with this process by bringing awareness, intention, doing energy work, and through intention, you can direct the upgrade.
Interesting. So, are you not the sun? There's a different sun then for Earth than you?
Yes,
Do you speak or communicate with our sun?
yes.
Oh, how is our sun doing? I check in because I've never gotten to talk to the sun before.
It's doing great.
Yeah.
It has helped, like we all work together, and this is the time when it's going through the whole solar system. It's going through upgrades. It's going through the pocket of energy, you might call it, within the galaxy that is providing those upgrades as well, therefore helping Sun to bring those codes to Earth and the rest of the solar system. Each star is a sun.
Right.
For its system.
Each star is a sun for its system. And our sun, there are so many solar flares lately. And I guess I'm just learning about this. a new follower, a beginning follower, and are we going to have a big solar flare that kind of knocks our electric grids out or causes anything that we should prepare for? Or will it be slow and steady?
Not slow, steady, not slow. This is the part of galaxy that is amplifying your sun's energy, helping with the upgrades and shifts, and there will be you're kinda in the middle of it right now. There will be a bit more bumpy ride, let's say.
How much can you tell us about the bumpy ride? Or is it kind of like we're not supposed to know? I feel sometimes like people or other beings, important energies or suns like yourself, are hesitant to give us future predictions. And I'm not sure if that's because we're not supposed to know them and it's part of our experience here, or because it feels like everyone else knows, but not us. By design. Is it by design?
I can't tell you which part of your world, meaning Earth, will be affected, but some of it will be affected more than the other parts. When it comes to power cuts and such.
And when you say and such, what other things come with the power cuts?
Could be a bit more intense than just power cuts, as in electromagnetic impulse may affect your power grids in more damaging way, let's say. Or memory storages, as in hard drives.
I don't think we've had that yet in any of the solar flares, have we? In the most recent years? And we're already in the middle of it, you said. Or maybe I haven't heard of it.
Can't tell.
Thank you so much. Is there anything that Margo needs to know in her area of the world? I'm always praying for that area of Italy, Malta, France, Spain, that whole area. I just get, I don't know, I have a sense of foreboding about it, and I don't know. Is that something you can talk about?
At the moment, it's fine.
At the moment, it's fine. Okay. And we also will know when we need to worry, it feels like. I have,
Yes.
thank you. And thank you so much for answering these questions. Am I still speaking with the young son or younger son?
No.
To whom am I speaking?
The older son.
Oh, thank you for coming. And why did, what made you want to step in?
I know your son longer.
Ah, so should we stay on the subject of our sun? Is there more to talk about than the solar flares?
There's always more to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like I know so little that I don't even know what questions to ask. So if there's something that we might be interested in knowing about the sun, like for instance, it feels like when we talk about God the Father and people reference God the Creator, all that is, we're actually talking about the sun as source. Is that
That's
correct?
not correct.
Okay.
Source is bigger than that. Source created, let's say created. Sun comes from source. The whole universe is part of the source. You got that idea because without sun on earth, there won't be your form of life.
Right. And that is so important to us that it seems godly, but really God and source is even bigger than that.
Yes. Yes.
Do suns talk to source, communicate with source?
It's not communication per se as you perceive it, as we communicate right now. It's more about information flowing.
That we need when we need it.
It's it's hard to compare. Each of the systems and planetary beings and suns and stars are, let's say, they know what to do. They play their roles. You could say they differ. They have their own personalities. They have own codes, blueprints. And the information, it's flowing freely, let's say, between source and those.
Why is it so difficult for us humans to have source flow freely through us like that?
Oh, you do. You're just not aware of it. You came down to play the game of life on earth, but you had to limit your consciousness to do so. make it very small. Otherwise, the game
No game.
wouldn't be worth playing.
What is the game? Is it just for fun, or is there an end point to it? What's the point? The Earth experiment or a game?
Experiment doesn't sound accurate.
Mm-hmm.
This way you would call each planet, each form of life, an experiment. Any other star system.
Mm-hmm.
It's a game of earthly living. You might say it's a game of source learning about itself.
Mm-hmm.
When the source is getting fragmented into smaller and smaller fractals in order to gain more information, which is then fed back to the Akash.
Mm. So these are everything here on Earth is a fractal of source. And
Absolutely.
is that where we get the idea of duality from? Like, is it 50, I mean, really, really simplifying it here, but 50% dark, 50% light. If there is darkness here, or is the darkness playing a role, like dark people?
Absolutely. And at some point, you might have played that role too. Not you, Jody, but your soul, which decided to fragment it into Jody, but it might also decide to fragment into a bad person, so called bad person.
Right, so-called bad person. So, and that's just to experience all of it, right?
If you would only know love, would you ever know the full expression of it without comparing it to anything else?
Right. Thank you so much for that. So,
Duality is a spectrum.
mm-hmm.
You have good and so-called good and so-called bad on the other end.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a trinity. What's in the middle? Perfect balance. But without those two, you wouldn't know even the perfect balance.
So is the ultimate end game, since we're using that metaphor of it being a game, is the end game one where we turn back to the light voluntarily? Or, like, it feels like this is a very special time, but some people are very afraid that the dark will win.
This is very complex. because for some the dark will win. And for some the light will win. To speak about the collective,
Right.
it's too complex. We would need to narrow it down. It is, in a way, how to put it, a mind game, a spiritual game.
But with
There is a lot of propaganda, that's for sure.
tell me what is one example of the propaganda that we should know is just so false, so false, and we can just settle that right now.
Anything that is dividing you further as a species, humanity.
Mm-hmm. I've been thinking about politics a lot because of in America, we've got the Trump and the Biden things. We can keep it to that, but it really is all politics and leaders. And I don't.
Yes, this is crumbling, and you can see them kicking and screaming, fighting for your attention and fighting. Fighting. There is this word again.
Yes. And I don't want to fight, but I also, it's like I've grown up and had my entire life almost thinking like you need to fight for good. And then if you don't fight for good, like what exactly are you doing? Like that's integrity, right? And you said one of the examples was fighting, you fight for integrity. But at the same time
do good.
Now,
Do good. Don't fight for good. Be good. Do good. Be kind.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to talk about Biden. I don't want to talk about Trump. I don't think either one of them. And I'd love for you to tell me if I'm wrong or not, but I feel like it almost doesn't matter who gets elected because either way, things are going to go so totally different than what we expect. And that
It seems like you already know the answer, that this system doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I do have doubts sometimes because I know that, well, what do I know that I know, actually, right? What I think I know is that Trump is playing a villain, but to others, he is the savior. So just thinking about this one role he's playing being the complete opposite to different people. And since it is so opposite, not everyone can be right, you know?
That's why it's so complex.
Mm-hmm. So some of my questions are there negative entities that are not playing a role on Earth at this time?
Can you
haven't
repeat the question?
volunteered. Yeah, I should be more specific. Okay, so I feel like any of the negative beings that that are just very, very greedy, sadistic, want money, power, don't care about other people, aren't doing good and being good, right? That's the definition of a negative entity. I feel like they're all playing roles that were pre-selected. Are there any beings that are on this planet now as humans that are not willingly playing a role, that didn't choose it?
Do you mean that they didn't choose it, but they playing the role of a bad person, let's say?
Yeah. Like they just literally are a bad person or a bad ET or a bad energy coming maybe from someplace else, or they just are bad. They're not saying, "Oh, I want to go down to earth, play the earth game and be a catalyst for my badness. My evil, greedy status is going to hurt a lot of people, and I want that experience." Is anyone just literally just bad, created like that?
There are some souls that chose the path of negative polarity, but they're not able to advance as far as the souls that choose the positive polarity. So they, in other words, to answer your question, yes, to not make it more complicated. They each of them, they choose that path. When we talked about the soul choosing the bad or the good person life, let's say, they chose the path, and they might, let's say, incarnate over and over and choosing this path over and over. There
Why
are
do they keep
those.
choosing it over and over? Because they like it, or I'm curious why somebody would choose that. Like if they're on the karmic wheel, right, and they don't really have a choice because they have to relive it to make better choices. But you're saying they keep choosing to come back. You know, there's a real fine line. That's what I'm asking.
You might say that through those intense situations
Mm-hmm.
that they would live through, their soul advances faster. Actually, Earth is this place where souls would, in general, advance faster than might be in other star systems or other planets because of the level of forgetting how do you follow where I
Yeah.
go? Yes.
Yeah.
So
So if they choose a darker path, it's harder. So it's like they're choosing an extreme path.
Mm-hmm.
Like
But
walking.
this path will get them only so far, as I said. They wouldn't advance further than, from your perspective, fourth or fifth density.
Okay. And what about the souls? What about the light workers that come in? Are some of the light workers here as darker for darker experiences, be catalysts for others? Sometimes I wonder about Donald Trump, like his soul, if his soul came in to say, I am going to be a catalyst. Like when we were talking about Margo moving, if the situation gets too uncomfortable, it's going to force her to do something. If Donald Trump or Biden, let's say, we should probably put them together, a leader that is so polarizing, could they have chosen, or did they choose to come at this time to help people on their soul path?
Precisely. They might not be aware of it right now. Maybe they are to some extent. I won't speak to that. However, before they came, they knew what role they were playing, will be playing. And the same for the light workers, is sometimes for even the light worker to get activated, they need to go, or they rather go through challenges and those, let's say, bad people are helping them to awake.
And so those are all soul contracts, yes? Yes, those are all soul contracts. And it's like, okay. And that has made me look at somebody that I have despised and had so much anger towards um, for too long. But I guess it's divine timing. And I needed to learn what I needed to learn, right? And now I'm learning my little microcosm experience is the same as the macrocosm with the politicians and the negative. But I also feel like it's all going to turn out okay. We're not going to destroy our planet. But I guess what you said earlier was we're going to have two different realms, and you said it was complicated. Is there a way that you could describe it a little bit more? Tiny bit. The dark will have a dark result, and the light will have a light result.
Simply put, some of the people might just, let's say, state in a sleeping mode, when the rest, you included, you're already aware of much more. You walk to this higher dimensions, your consciousness expanded. For those who won't get there, the reality will look different.
Mm.
It's like someone, I think, compared it to two trains. And for now, they are going next to each other, although one is slightly speeding up and the paths are getting further away from each other. So you could imagine it like this as well.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you for like really dumbing it down for me. You know, my brain has expanded quite a bit, and my consciousness has expanded quite a bit, but you know, this is really hard to wrap your head around. And
Indeed,
like you said,
but you're doing
by
great. It's not easy. It's not easy, but you are where you're supposed to be in this process, like many wrapping their heads around it. But it's not only head, there is more to it. There is heart, the whole system.
So in my lifetime and in Margot's lifetime, is there anything you can tell us? Yeah, is there anything you can tell us that might really whet our appetite for curiosity? I'm not even sure what, but in the future, what we can look forward to with the sun.
The planet will change its landscape in next 20 years, let's say.
That's our lifetime. Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that Margot is on right exactly where she's supposed to be too, in terms of where she is on her timeline and things that she set up for herself. Thank you for bringing her to me. I should thank the universe, and I love doing this with her. I have a question about a friend of mine, and I don't want to say her name, but I wonder if it's something that you might be able to know or get a sense of. But she was asking me why she picked such a life of disfigurement and sadness. Like, why would she do that?
Life of, can you repeat?
Life of disfigurement, pain, and immense sadness. How do I answer that for her?
From the higher perspective of soul contracts. Her soul knew, based on previous experiences, that is ready and it can handle life like that, which will bring, again, you might call it immense advancement in learning the information and experience that the soul, therefore rest of the cosmos, would have through this experience. And every person that she encounters in her life touches in different ways. She would experience love from others. Others will experience love from her, but also there are a number and many more situations and emotions, experiences that these souls will learn, let's say, learn from each other on a soul level.
It feels like a sacrifice, like she sacrificed a lot to do that. So her higher self is gaining, but it still is a sacrifice in some way.
That's her human perspective, yes.
Her human perspective at this time. Right. She is a warrior. We talk about like someday doing a past life regression with her and her being a Knight Templar or, you know, some hero. I'm like, yeah, a hero or a knight would do something like this too.
That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah.
Saying about past experiences that her soul already had.
Yes. Thank you.
People who are choosing these difficult circumstances for the human experience anytime, not only now, but also, let's say, in the earth past, there are sometimes even ancient souls that already went through a lot. Wise ancient souls.
Like you. You're not a soul though, right? You're not are you considered a soul? How does that work?
Yes, from your perspective, I would consider myself a soul that after, let's say, when I finish the job of a sun, I might decide to fragment into, let's say, smaller beings and go and experience more.
Interesting. I love this. Can I ask one more question? I want to make sure that the channel is okay.
Go for it.
Okay. I'm studying a lot about the Rosicrucian and occult alchemy, and they are worshiping the phallus. And it feels like there's a piece that I'm missing more than just they're worshiping an appendage. Or is it really as simple as that? The phallus in the ancient times, like fertility rituals, statues, that kind of stuff. Is it more about like germination and fertility, or is it literally they're worshiping visceral pleasures and strength? Hard to get to the bottom of the history sometimes.
So, you're asking if they're worshipping the symbols or there is more to it?
Yeah, more to it, like more about fertility or something, some secret.
Yes, this is more about fertility, as you're saying, birthing life. This is very powerful. What survived are the symbols of it. That's why it could be mistaken for it to be what you see on the surface.
Right. Okay.
But you need to take in account that not everything was written or recorded. A lot of knowledge was just passed by in secret, let's say, from member to member, which wasn't recorded because it might have been used by someone not, let's say, not with good intentions. So that might not, that's why it's been kept secret.
And still,
Is.
yeah, we still try to keep it secret, I think. But that information is coming out more. I think there are lots of people now that are so interested in finding out the truth about things. Like, I'm not the only. It seems like there's more. It's not just a reflection of me and what I'm doing. I think
You're
there's
doing it
actually more.
collectively.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes, we're doing it collectively. Thank you. And doing grid work. And all right, so this will actually be my last question. Talking about obelisk around and near water, is that something that we should be worried about or counteract, I should say?
Obelisk around the water.
Yeah, there's a philosophy, there's a theory that some people without good intentions have kind of hijacked areas with water and of land with the use of structures in the shape of an obelisk for negative intentions. And I don't know if that's true or not.
I can't speak to that.
Okay.
But even if they did so, as you were saying, some of the information is kept secret still, but they were kept secret for some time for different reasons. Now more and more of light workers are being activated, waking up, whatever you wanna call it, which is disturbing the the status quo, let's put it that way.
Right. Yep.
And this knowledge is coming out again, it's being rediscovered and being shared. And it's at the point where it can't be swept under the carpet anymore. So when it comes, yes, a lot of water is being polluted, a lot of natural habitats are being polluted. or destroyed, but you can still turn it around. You, humanity, and you are going that direction together with sun, together with earth, together with solar system. And you've been helped by many other, for you, alien life that is looking over you.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you would like to say before I bring Margo back? Anything that you would just...
Keep shining bright, Jody.
Oh, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And I'm just so grateful that you showed up today.
Because you showed up.
Thank you. And what would you like me to say to Margo?
Same.
Keep shining bright. Wonderful. I will tell her. So now I ask the ancient sun and any other entities or consciousness that we've been working with today to gently recede to where it belongs with much love and much thanks for the help and information it has been giving us today. And I want all of the consciousness and personality